Understanding red herrings, a real-world example.
Hello, and welcome to our exploration of red herrings in arguments. Red herrings are devices used in discussions or debates that intend to distract or mislead from the main issue or point. By understanding them better, we can build more effective arguments and easily identify when someone is trying to shift our focus.
What is a red herring?
A red herring is a term that originated from a technique used in hunting to train dogs. A smoked, red herring fish was dragged across a trail to distract dogs from the scent they were meant to follow. In the context of arguments and discussions, a red herring represents a statement or argument introduced to divert attention away from the real issue at hand. The purpose of a red herring is usually to avoid having to address the main point directly or to confuse the listener.
A real-world example of a red herring.
Let's consider an example. Scenario: a political debate where candidate A accuses candidate B of not having a clear plan for healthcare reform. Candidate B's response: Candidate A constantly criticizes my policies, but did you know that they had a remarkably poor attendance record in the Senate last year? Here, candidate B has introduced a red herring. Instead of addressing the issue of healthcare reform, they've diverted the conversation towards candidate A's attendance record. While the attendance record might be a relevant point in a different context, it does nothing to address or refute the main point about healthcare reform, and it's intended to distract the audience from that point.
How does this red herring distract from the central point?
In our example, candidate B's response is a red herring because it attempts to shift the focus of the conversation. The central point of the argument is whether candidate B has a clear plan for healthcare reform. Rather than address this concern, candidate B introduces a completely separate issue: candidate A's Senate attendance record. This is a distraction technique that diverts the audience's attention from the original topic, thereby avoiding the need to address the central argument about healthcare reform. It's an attempt to put candidate A on the defensive instead of addressing the criticism of their own policies. In conclusion, understanding red herrings can help us recognize when the focus of an argument is being deliberately shifted away from the central point. By learning to identify these tactics, we can stay focused on the main issues in our own arguments and debates. Remember, the key is to stay on topic and not be swayed by unrelated points that may seem appealing but ultimately distract from the main point. Thank you for joining us in this exploration, and we hope this knowledge serves you well in your future discussions.